we're going to cover is technology. What's available and how can you use it? So a lot of times we're especially our budgets are getting slashed. There's a lot of people on furlough. And so you're really tasked with doing more with less, right? So I'm going to introduce a way that you use technology to do so much more with your marketing than you ever thought. Plus, you're never going to have that like leads that fall through the cracks or you don't really know what happened. I mean, I've heard somebody that had like 1,000 inquiries and they don't really know what happened to them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. And if you think about it, not just from your perspective, that sounds crazy. Think about how the perspective of those 1,000 students, right? They inquired about a school and they didn't get followed up on. So they probably left with a bad taste in their mouth and enrolled somewhere else, or felt kind of disillusioned by the whole thing and didn't enroll anywhere. And then that student continues to be underserved. So we don't want that either. So really creating some form of technology or using a form of technology is going to help you create a really consistent brand experience. When a new lead comes in, it automatically, it's so cool, goes right into your system. Then the system, right, a good CRM system, can start immediately communicating and shooting out emails and text messages using the person's name. And if you set them up, you can do it programmatically. So you could do nursing versus business versus criminal justice. Or you could do it by campus. You can do, let's say, Orlando to Miami. And you have different visuals too, because maybe Orlando looks different than your Miami campus. And people, even the campus makeup of how people look, you could have different imagery for Orlando than you have for Miami. So those are all things that you can do with a CRM. Plus the CRM, you set it up, it's like a sequence, right? So you say, okay, as soon as somebody comes in, shoot out an email. And then maybe 6 hours later, send this communication. And then wait 2 days or let the rep then calls. The beautiful thing is Ynot CRM is a higher ed CRM, really, really affordable. So if you're thinking, gosh, my campus cannot afford this, it is made for your campus then, but incredibly robust. So as robust as almost all the other CRMs out there. The system allows a lead to come in automatically. Then it does whatever communication you want. It also creates all these email templates. So you just create it once and your rep gets to pull down the template anytime they want, which is crazy. The beautiful thing is marketing can write the templates, get them approved by compliance, and then the rep uses them. I cannot tell you how many countless times I've looked at the emails that reps have sent and they're like grammatically incorrect. They just don't make any sense. So this really stops that from happening. Plus it really frees up the rep's time to have more meaningful conversations with people because they're not doing all the manual stuff, right? There's this automation coming on. They still get to do stuff, but now they just pull down. They could send a text message from a template, which is pretty amazing too. So you could have marketing in the outskirts of things. You could have all these different automations happening. And then the rep, once they start having real meaningful conversations with people, can go ahead and send their own communications that's relevant to the conversation that they had. And they could add and tweak things as they go too. The beautiful thing is, there's also a power dialer. So if a new lead comes in, the system all of a sudden starts calling the person, right? And you could set it like call within 3 minutes or something. And then if it gets a voicemail, it hangs up. But if it gets a real person, it actually rings all the phones of whoever's logged into Ynot. And the first person who answers it gets connected to the person right away. So your reps aren't sitting there dialing all the time. But instead, they're getting connected with real people having meaningful conversations. Your lead nurturing in the background is doing an awesome job priming the person, getting them ready. And you can look at rep activity. You could look at email open rates. You could look at text messages. And you could really start to identify what channels in marketing are working. Is this billboard working? You get to buy your own phone numbers from the system and put them on a billboard. Put this phone number on a taxi cab. I don't know if that's still a thing. It used to be. And you could, put the phone numbers anywhere that you're doing specific types of advertising or marketing. And you can create different sources that automatically feed into Ynot. So it's really, really powerful. The rep automation is amazing. So let's talk about the rep automation, right? Sometimes you hear reps are like, I don't want a CRM. They do. They just don't know what it could do for them. So the automation part is really, really awesome. So not only does the system call, so they don't have to manually call. If they do want to call, like they schedule a call back time and the power dialer isn't doing it, they're doing it, they can actually call just by clicking in the record, and it calls in their headset attached to the computer. So they don't have to dial the phone, which is, I don't know, it's kind of frustrating to dial the phone, even if it's just like a cell phone. So it actually all works through the system. It's all cloud-based, so it's really cool. So then the rep dials, and then the rep can send out a text message. The rep could send out an email. Again, those are all templated, or they could write their own, or just edit one of those and send it. And there's all these little variables. So you could say, in the email, it can have variable campus, variable program, variable, and that means the system will pull the program that they already selected when they filled out a form and pop it into the email. They don't have to do any of that. So it looks super personalized. Let's say the rep has an appointment scheduled, right? The system's automatically going to send out a reminder to the prospective student that they have an appointment coming up. Let's say the person misses the appointment. The system will automatically say, I'm sorry, we missed you. Can we reschedule? So you could actually set all those up. So, and you could do it by text, and you could do it by email. So there's all this communication that could be happening based on like the disposition codes and status codes of your reps. And then they have a calendar view, and they could see all their different appointments that they have. They could see their no-shows. They could see who enrolled. They get to see at the very top, you'll see how many enrollments they have, how many inquiries they had or leads, and how many starts they have, so you can kind of see if they're meeting towards goal. And the really good thing about reporting is you don't want to get to the end of the quarter or the end of the semester and realize you didn't hit your enrollment numbers. The system tracks it, right, as a rolling average. So you would actually be able to see year over year at this week how many enrollments you should have, and see how you're doing. And you get to see how much activity each rep had. So you get to really gauge like, hey, this person really isn't making any calls, so they're not going to really have a lot of appointments. Or this person has a lot of appointments, but they're not converting to enrollments. That really tells you there might be a training issue here. And that gives you some really great opportunities to go back in and retrain or have them listen to someone else and kind of see what's going on. Like, why are they not doing that? And then that also brings me to this fabulous little point. All calls are recorded. So as long as they're calling from the system will record their call and put it in the record. From a leadership standpoint, you want this because from a possible lawsuit or something that comes up or a complaint, you can go back to the record, you can listen to that call and then see if anything happened. Or you could listen, or you could have a trainer listening to the calls and really confirm if that rep needs a little bit more retraining. So from a compliance and leadership standpoint, you absolutely want to have that. It's going to really kind of protect you from any potential issues, and it mitigates risk. So it mitigates risk, and that in itself is golden. But let's cover the value of lead nurturing. All right, so if you're sending out email blasts, that's wonderful. And you could still continue doing that with Ynot. But the power is really in a lead nurturing sequence. So I'm going to read you some stats that are really powerful. They're not for higher ed, but let's go ahead and infer that we should see similar results for higher ed. So relevant emails delivered through marketing automation drive 18 times more revenue than email blasts alone. So that's really powerful, 18 times. And with Ynot, you can do both. Companies that excel at lead nurturing generate 50% more sales-ready leads at a 33% cost. So when budgets are tightest than they've ever been, this is what you want to be doing. Nurture leads produce, on average, 20% more sales opportunities versus non-nurtured leads. That's insane. And I think we should all be running, to really kind of schedule a demo and talk through how we can do this for your school. So as I mentioned, we could actually kick off a demo within the week or so. You could just click on my calendar invite and schedule one right on my calendar, which is pretty nice. And then we have the demo. And I could have as many demos as your team needs and talk with as many people in the organization as you need. Every school is different. Every enrollment cycle is different. We could really talk through your specifics. And then we could actually have you launched within 5 weeks of signing. We have no long-term contracts because people stay with us because they want to and they have value from the system. And then, the system is only as good as those who use it, right? So it's our job internally to make sure you learn how to use the system. We're available anytime. We could do as many trainings or tutorials as you need. So we could walk through what that looks like. Many of our schools just set up a monthly retainer, and then other ones kind of do ad hoc as they need it. But we are here to assist you and make this work for you. So Ynot also, while it's really primarily set for the enrollment process, and then it has kind of a two-way conversation with your student information system. So we set it up and we integrate it, and then they talk to each other so they can go with data and information back and forth. But you could also use Ynot for your retention and summer melt and all these different kinds of things, because all you do is export or pull the information from your student information system, run it through Ynot, and then set the people on a lead nurturing cadence for retention. You could ask them, what time is to refill out your FAFSA, or financial aid information. Or you could just communicate statewide, school-wide, and say, hey, there's these events coming up, or there's an emergency at the school, and you could send out a big text message blast. You could communicate that you have a big event, and you could invite leaders from around the community using Ynot. So it's really, really powerful, and it's not just for admissions, but primarily it doesn't house like financial aid data or anything like that. So you would need some kind of financial aid or student information system. But once you do that and get the student enrolled and all of that, then you can get the information back, and we could use it for retention, communication, we're asking for referrals. There really is no limit. It's really a really powerful communication system.
Ain't nothing better than watching you smile. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ain't nothing better than watching you laugh out loud, my baby. Ain't nothing better than watching you be you. Ain't nothing better than right now.
So schedule a demo. I look forward to having a conversation with you. Thanks for spending some time with me today. And until next time, bye.